What's going on, family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hope you guys have a great and exceptional day. This has definitely been the week of me catching up on making a lot of content and whatnot, because the last 2 weekends have been a bust. Handling personal business, being on trip, doing business, because as much as I love making content, making content doesn't pay the bills, and life has to, go on and move forward. So, anyways, hopefully everybody's having a good day. So, this is the 31st edition of today's forecast. We're all gonna die. Where I go out of my way to mock the media. If you're a little too uptight for this, then this is not the place to be. If you see my content long enough, you know I don't argue with people on the internet unless we're arguing about what the best places to buy real estate, best businesses to open, and best assets to purchase. If we're not arguing about stuff like that, then as grown ups, especially as grown men, we're wasting time. All right, I'm not going to be some Poindexter arguing about something online with a stranger. I know that's the thing to do in today's world, but that's just not my thing to do in this world. So I'll leave it at that. But if you're watching Do the Great TP things, like, share, and subscribe. As I always say, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Do or die. All right, cool. But anyways, so I go out of my way to, talk trash about the media, and because they make me laugh, and with them it's always the end of the world. I leave it at that. So here we go. Today's forecast: we're all gonna die. College football playoff field is set. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Texas Tech earns first round buys. The 12 teams varying to win college football playoff national title were revealed Sunday by the CFP selection committee, with Miami making the playoffs while Notre Dame and ACC champions Duke are left out. The top four seeds: number 1 Indiana, number 2 Ohio State, defending the national championship, number 3 Georgia, and number 4 Texas Tech earned first round buys and will automatically advance to the quarterfinals. Now, why am I talking about this? I know nothing about sports. I care nothing about sports. But I know one thing that is happening in today's world when it comes to sports, specifically the world of football, the United States of America. More and more people have gotten bored with the NFL, especially given the fact that most people can't even afford, regular everyday working people cannot even afford to go to an NFL game anymore. And college football games are becoming, especially now that the players are getting paid, college football games have gotten 10 times better, way more exciting, and the stadiums are much more packed, and there's more of a wholesome feeling at the college football games compared to going to an NFL game. Now, am I saying that the NFL stadiums are not packed? No, but I will say that, case in point, a new stadium at the building in Nashville, Tennessee, or was it Memphis, Tennessee? But it's in Tennessee. They're going to be seating less people, and the prediction is by a lot of sports analysts. So I'm just predicting. I'm going off of what sports analysts are saying, and sports fans, because I'm surrounded by them, specifically football fans, is that the stadiums of the future, for the most part, will be smaller because most people will not be able to afford to buy tickets because of obviously inflation. Number one. Number two, a lot more people are into gaming and sports gambling. And then number three, people just can't afford to buy the tickets to go to the games anymore, not even the nosebleed seats, but they can definitely afford to buy, at least for now, to go to a college game. And then a lot of every football fan I know says the experience is 10 times better going to a football game at a college campus than it is at the National Football League. So, and no shade towards either one. I've been to one NFL game in my lifetime in Dallas, Texas. Another a football game at Virginia State University and Norfolk State University. So shout out to the HBCUs. Everybody, when I went to Jackson, Mississippi, everybody tells me, and Montgomery, Alabama recently, everybody's telling me I need to check out a game down there. Even if I'm not a football fan, they say it's like going to a barbecue slash church slash nightclub all mixed into one. And that reminds me when I used to go to the Turkey Leg Hut down in Houston, Texas. So we'll see what happens and go from there. Anyway, all right. Moving real fast tonight. All right, cool. Because I got to get up early in the morning. I got things to do. So here we go. And this is politics. I don't care what side you're on. I don't care if you vote. I don't care who you vote for. It this is just me mocking things. I'm from the DMV area, so as an adult, I've been through enough presidents and Congress people to know what it is. Everything's about money, and ain't a darn thing funny. So Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, one of the handful of House Republicans who won in the district that then Vice President Kamala Harris carried last fall, has a stark message for his party as a deadline to extend expiring healthcare subsidies and the midterm elections approach. He said, and I quote, "If we don't have a better plan, then get on board with ours," Fitzpatrick said. But doing nothing is not an option. In a wide-ranging interview with CNN's Manu Raju for Inside Politics Sunday, Fitzpatrick leaned into areas where he broke sharply with his party leaders, including his desire to find a healthcare compromise, staunch commitment to defending Ukraine, and past votes against advancing major pieces of the current president's agenda. A Pennsylvania lawmaker is among the few House Republicans putting forward legislation to extend the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies due to expire at the end of the year. Now, my healthcare premiums already went up. I've seen it in my paycheck, and everybody else has seen it in their paychecks. And next year it's supposed to go up even higher for more people. And at the end of the day, I don't care what side of the aisle you lean on. I think both sides are full of it. But I will say, at the end of the day, if you've seen my content, I'm not a fan of politics. I haven't been a fan of politics for years, no matter what side of the aisle anybody's on. So nobody's ever going to have me argue over politics. But I will say that if this representative is sincere with what he wants to do, then more power to him, because I don't think, especially nowadays, the affordability issues in the United States of America has just intensified worse for the last couple of years, especially this year. And for people, people who are struggling and are in debt, and people that are basically having to utilize credit cards and food banks and buy now, pay later in order to just barely get by and survive and not thrive, is a very sad thing. And that people have to, because people have to pay more with the premium starting in 2026, which I call the year of dark territory, then things are going to get worse. And because even recently, I saw that, and I don't think this is being talked about enough, apparently there's been more thefts, which I kind of predicted this was going to happen. If people can't afford anything, they're going to steal. But there have been more thefts from Walmart, and really, I didn't realize, and if you get on TikTok, you see all these videos. I didn't even realize that in Walmart, they are very keen in regards to how they get people. Utilizing face recognition software, number one. Number two, they have those blended in shoppers around the store, basically security guards. And then number three, they don't mind you stealing something they're not going to try to get you for anything under $25 and whatnot. But because they know that the psychology of people who steal on a consistent basis is, if they feel like they've gotten away with stealing one item that's like 10 to 15 bucks, then they know for the most part that, one, they got that person their face recognition on site because of all the cameras that they have within the store. Number two, they remember you the moment the face recognition system will go off once you come back. And then number three, if you steal enough a couple of times, they'll make sure they want to ensure that the charges stick to it become a felony, depending on the state that you live in. If you steal a certain amount of products past a certain price, and then you go away for at least 2 to 3 years, or maybe even more, especially if you have a prior record and whatnot. So, moral of the story is, you will see more people get locked up, and that's great for the prison industrial industry, because then that means the state will have more people that have cheap labor and they'll be able to make more money and get you off the street. So it's it's a capitalistic way, one way or the other, whether it's doom or gloom or prosperity, the system will ensure that they will profit off of you one way or the other. Anyways, so we'll see what happens on that one. So, because I foresee if the year of dark territory actually does happen in 2026, then you'll just see, I always say, it's kind of going to be like when we saw during the pandemic all across the country, when people would just go inside stores and bum rush the stores and just steal a bunch of things. At least those people were smart enough to hide their faces and whatnot, because they were like, to try to, I guess you could say, circumvent the facial recognition and whatnot, to the point where a lot of these places had to get armed security guards. I was telling about the story after I got robbed the first time going to a Target, where I actually saw armed security officers and deputy sheriffs in a Target patrolling the place. So with that being said, I could see that happening more so specifically at a grocery store. People are starving. Case in point, I always say, look at the old movie, because movies can become reality. The fiction of a movie, fictitious stories can become realistic. Case in point, the movie Demolition Man, where people who did not want to comply with a certain lifestyle that the city of Los Angeles became in the future, they were forced to live underground, beneath the city, in the sewers and the former subways and whatnot. And because they didn't want to be able to live in a world where they couldn't think for themselves, they couldn't even, in a sense, procreate. That became illegal. You had to get permission from the government in this movie Demolition Man, and you couldn't eat meat and things of that nature, and you had to be in a good mood all the time. So anyways, that I could foresee that happening in the future. Not people living on the ground like that, but I always say it's like, purge energy to where not everybody's trying to kill each other, but everybody's got the whole, every man, woman, and child for themselves energy, and things just get a little bit crazier and crazier and crazier. So we'll see what happens on that one, but the affordability crisis is real. And I hope that, one, there's not another government shutdown next month in January, my birthday month. And then number two, that these politicians can just get their stuff together. No matter if the Democrats, Independents, Republicans, I think most reasonable Americans in the United States of America just want a reasonable solution that doesn't involve working people going up to ears in freaking debt and starving and being homeless. But that's just me. I'll leave it at that. Whatever your political affiliations or opinions are, that's you, that's your business, and I ain't mad at it. Do what you got to do in this life. So make it happen. Make money moves, as I always say. But anyways, I digress. So anyways, what do we got before I get to talking about Diddy for one last time? Because I done talked about him a bunch of times today. What do we got? Man, nobody cares about Elon Musk's father. Let's see what we got. I think it was one more. Oh yeah. So, and there's this. If you don't know, I binge on YouTube, and there's this one documentary, hour-long documentary I haven't had a chance to watch today. I think I'll listen to it tomorrow. But it's a trend of more Americans moving abroad. And Belize seems to be a place now, Central America. It's crazy how so many Central Americans come to the United States of America for economic opportunity. But then you have a vice versa effect of Americans that you don't hear about enough that are talking about, yeah, we're leaving the U.S. And Belize is one of those places. I remember hearing about Panama and Costa Rica and Mexico, but now Belize is becoming one of those places. Excuse me. Shout out, what's his name? Shine. He used to be on Bad Boy Records, because, now he's basically let me look this up just to be on the safe side. Who is the Prime Minister of Belize? Okay, so he hasn't won yet. I know he was running for Prime Minister, but he hasn't become. He's still a senator in Belize. Yeah, Johnny Briceño. Briceño is the current Prime Minister of Belize. So I didn't want to get that wrong. But anyways, a lot of Americans are moving there. And one thing I will, because I will be trying to at least do this in 2026, more international travel for Americans. Not necessarily to say because you got to leave America because America sucks. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that I think more Americans need to have more of a broader world perspective by going to other parts of the world, and where they could appreciate what they have, or they can see what they might want to have in life, because it seems to be the new trend that more and more Americans are moving to quote unquote third world countries because they're tired of the rat race that the United States provides. They want a more simple life. I can't get mad at that. So shout out to Belize, shout out to any place where Americans are moving to, as they are known to be called expats, and go from there. Because at the end of the day, I know that everybody's looking for a better life, and the whole rat race, work like crazy till you die. As a guy said, and I'm going to give him credit, the creator that said this today, I listen to him all the time. I just happened to stumble upon him, just like I did most people on YouTube. But yeah, Michael Bordenaro. Yeah, Michael Bordenaro. I watch his channel all the time. Yeah, Michael Bordenaro. He said that the whole idea of working your butt off until you die and whatnot is a dead thing. He's like, the way the world works now is you got to be able to make money for you, because you're combating AI. You're basically combating and competing against AI models that can work 24/7, 7 days a week. So if your money's not working for you 24/7, 7 days a week in the United States of America, whether it's with a side business or an investment, I'm not telling you how to invest your money, then you are basically financially screwed. And I can't put it any other way. Like working all the out, especially like I said, like when I work 2 to 3 jobs, I say this all the time. I was putting money away, I was getting my credit together, and then eventually I started investing my money. But working 2 to 3 jobs wasn't so that I could floss on people. It was so I could have a little bit more economic security. That was always on my mind. The sad thing is, this is over 20 years ago, but the even sadder thing is when I would tell people that at that age, they looked at me like, well, you're always going to struggle. You're always going to be broke. I was surrounded by people with a defeated mindset back then and didn't even realize it because I wasn't mature enough to understand that, because since I was still a kid. I'm like, between the ages of, 19 and 25 years old. I think at the time I was 21, 22. But I just couldn't get with that mindset of people saying, yeah, I'm always going to struggle. I'm always going to be broke. Like that was a lot of people's mindset. And I just don't get that. That's the most unattractive thing to be around, whether it's relationships or friendships or whatever, family. That ain't cool to be around, so I'll leave it at that. But anyways, I've spoken on Diddy. I went live on YouTube earlier. I was sitting in my backyard. I went live again on Instagram. I spoke on Diddy. Didn't realize how much of a piece of crap that he is, but it is what it is. But one thing I said on Instagram, and I'll say this now, is that, Diddy is like a lot of CEOs in America, how they truly operate, how they truly feel. Like there was a scene when Diddy was walking around New York during this trial, and he was taking pictures with people, hanging out on the block in Harlem, things of that nature. And then when he got back in his car, he was like, oh man, I need some hand sanitizer. They was like, here you go. I need a shower, man. Because basically he was walking around like he was a king. And it's like, because if you think about certain kingdoms back in the day, specifically in the UK, if the king would never get close to the quote unquote the peasants of the country or the kingdom. And if they did, they felt like they needed to shower or take a bath immediately because they had the filth of the people on them. And that's the kind of energy that Diddy was putting out there. But a lot of CEOs in the United States of America feel that way. Not going to say any names, but that's why they live in their exclusive gated communities. Because because if you look at a lot of these dorky CEOs of today's corporations in America, they have that mentality. They have a king complex. They have a king/God complex. And their mindset is, hey, they're going to ensure that there's enough bots to replace the human race. And that's number one. And number two, to ensure that everybody kneels before them. But once again, I always say, and I could be wrong, but this is just my prediction. The AI bubble is going to happen when the AI companies can no longer exist because nobody has a job. And I leave it at that. I just got to keep it really simple when it comes to that aspect. And that's the complex that, Diddy had. And he wanted to ensure. And then another thing, as an employer, he wanted to ensure that his peasant employees, he got the most work out of them and that he was able to utilize them, and he kept them poor, begging for more. And the sad thing is you had rich celebrities that were living in the just over broke category. Because that's what a job stands for. If you don't make money outside of your job, and if you don't have investments outside of your job, and if you don't have savings outside of your job, savings in the bank account, access to more capital. Did I tell you to invest anything? No. I'm just saying, I know I would not feel comfortable if I didn't have money saved in the bank. I would not feel comfortable if I didn't have other streams of income. And I would surely heck would not feel comfortable if my money was not working for me 24/7, 7 days a week. The part of the Diddy documentary, the fact that Craig Mack, rest in peace to him, was so broke while he had the #1 hit song on the radio that his wife at the time had to ask for money from her father, and he basically had to ask for $100 from Diddy because he wasn't getting any money. And whatever contract he signed, he's basically screwed him over, because the one, shout out to Babs on the Making the first Making the Band series, she said that when she took her, when they gave her the contracts, they was like, you have 24 hours to sign this contract. That's strike one right there. Okay. That reminds me literally of Ice Cube and NWA when in the scene where Jerry Heller in the movie, how true this movie was, you know, I'm gonna leave it at that, you know. But in the movie where Jerry Heller was in a dark room and was smoking a cigarette and drinking alcohol and was like, all right, cool, Cube, you've been making a lot of noise about contracts, here it is. And Cube's like 17, 18 years old at the time. He's like, yeah, you got to sign it now. And he was like, I don't know anything about this. I got to take this to a lawyer. He said, no, you won't do that. You get lawyers involved, and then you're going to have way more issues and things of that nature. And he's like, either you sign it now or you're out of the group. He's like, man, forget it, man, I'm gone. And Ice Cube made a smart choice. And then when Babs, who was on Making the Band, she took the contract to a lawyer, even though she only had 24 hours. And the lawyer, she said, the lawyer laughed at the contract and said, hey, okay, so this is the short of the contract. If you sign this contract, you will be famous, but you're not going to get any money. And she still signed the contract. So it's like in a sense where people will get a job with a lot of promises made for becoming management, getting promoted, things of that nature, and then these things never happen. You know, getting bonuses, then these things never happen. But you decided to take the job. Excuse me. And like I said, that's the sad thing. You know, that's why I said earlier, at least the Lox did the smart thing by getting away from Diddy. You know, not just because of all the crazy sexual stuff that was going on, but to get away from Diddy in regards to, you know, they became way more, the Lox became way more famous once they left Bad Boy than they were when they were at Bad Boy. Okay. I remember the first time I heard the Lox was on, what was the name of the song? All About the Benjamins, Baby. Then they had their song Money, Power, Respect. Was the first time I heard DMX. But I know that at the end of the day, when they had that song Wildin' Out with Rough Riders, they was like, are you happy that the LOX is signed with Rough Rider now? Wild Out. Seeing them with DMX, seeing them with Eve, seeing them with Dragon, they blew up. They became bigger superstars once they got away from Bad Boy and got away from Diddy. Because they knew that was not the environment for them. And at the end of the day, to close this off, that's really the moral of the story. You know, whatever business you start or whatever job you start, whatever friendships and family members and relationships, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Okay? Hold on a second. Hey, brother, I'm live right now on YouTube, man. Check me out. All right, bye. Yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, that's my boy Troy. Matter of fact, I'll send him the link. But yeah, at the end of the day, family, it's just like you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Because if you can't understand that the certain situations are just not for you, then you're playing the fool. You know, it's like when Mace. I say it like that. Like Mace got away from Diddy and did better. You know what I'm saying? It's like Mace got. He got away from Diddy and did better. He became a preacher. Loon got away from Diddy and did better. Sean got away from Diddy and did better. Like I said, he's on track to becoming. He's running for prime minister in Belize. He's a state senator in Belize. You know, he took the rap, unfortunately, for the whole shooting situation at the nightclub. You know, so you just got to know when to get the heck away from people. I mean, I really can't put it any other way, man. You got to know when to get the heck away from people. You know, I ended off. I'm not going to talk about this Diddy documentary anymore because the moral of the story of that series, it tells me I've known when to get the heck away from people, whether I didn't want to or not. I know holding on to something just because you're comfortable and because it feels good, you know, it can be the worst freaking thing on the planet. And a lot of the people who held on to Diddy, you know, it didn't work out for them. A lot of people ended up in jail. A lot of people ended up dead. Like, it's funny when and it's crazy. I'm thinking about it now because I was in high school when the whole nightclub shooting happened, and when Jennifer Lopez left Diddy, she was smart about doing it. I don't even like Jennifer Lopez. I mean, I think, you know, obviously at the time as a kid, I thought she was beautiful or whatnot, but as a person, I could not stand her. But I understood why she left Diddy because it just got, you know, that was the icing on the cake. You know, that was just the icing on the cake to get away from that man because it was nothing but drama. Get away from people that have nothing to do with your future. Get away from people that are all about the drama. It's the old saying, save the drama or your mama. All right. Anyways, everybody have a great week. Do the great 3P things, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves and get a little bro, like we'll say in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life. I'm out. So, a lot of people ask, what is LarrysAnythingGoes, LLC? It's real simple. Do affiliate marketing in regards to cryptocurrency affiliations like Coinbase, WEBULL, Crypto.com, etc., and so forth, stocks, bonds with Acorns and Stash, because these are the vehicles that I utilize to invest in. Number two, I sell products like the shirt you see on me and the hat that you see right here. Make Money Moves hat. Make Money Move shirt, and I make content. That is, at the end of the day, essentially that's what Larry's Anything Goes is. This is a new promo video for the company, and that's it. So, as I always say, do the great 3 free things. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves so you can live like fools. Say in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life. And that's all she wrote. Any questions? And thank you again for anybody who's ever bought from my store. Thank you anybody who's ever contributed to my channel, from liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, super chats, cash apps, PayPals, Venmos, all that good stuff. I just want to say it's greatly appreciated. I do this for love and passion. To be able to monetize is just an extra layer of add-on, so I just want to put that out there. Take care.
Michael, now.